Hello everyone, this is Yours Trivia. Welcome back to another round of our subscriber game as we continue from round 1 with match 5 between Hindustani Man on the green side versus BeeDeeDubs on the red side. And taking a look at the army composition of Hindustani Man, we have Gong Sun Zan, Ma Chao, and Yan Baihu. 3 generals from the 3 corners of the map, northwest, northeast, and the south, somehow meets together to fight in an army. I think the only thing that kind of joins the 3 of them is greed. And looking at the army composition, we have a lot of cavalry. Now, it is something we need to note that Yan Baihu does give his retinue stock. So those 3 units will be invisible on the field until you run up close to them. So that will be an interesting interaction in this fight. But looking at the cavalry that's on Gong Sun Zan, we have 2 of his White Horse Fellows, 2 of the White Horse Raiders, and 2 Peasant Band. And these units are all fairly upgraded. We have level 2 ranks on the Fellow, level 3 rank on the Raiders, level 5 rank on the Peasant Bands. And then on Ma Chao, we have 3 Cataphracts, which is an interesting choice instead of his unique Qiang Cavalry. Now, my opinion of the Cataphract is they're heavily armored, they have good charge, but they're incredibly slow. So that kind of defeats the purpose of Shock Cavalry in most instances, especially since we're up against some range cavalry that we probably can't outrun. They also are all rank 2. And then finally for Yan Baihu, he has his unique axe-wielding splash damage infantry, whose name escaped me right now, and also 1 White Horse Raider. And this White Horse Raider is going to be putting down poison arrows, fire arrows, and doing so from stock, but stock is actually not incredibly powerful in multiplayer because humans can see where the fire arrow or the poison arrow is coming from, and they simply have to charge at you, even if you are technically invisible. Only the AI is going to sit there and allow you to finish off all your shots. So that's Hindustani Man's army. And looking at BeeDeeDubs, he went with a very interesting choice of only running 2 generals, which I disagree with because I think generals are incredibly powerful. It seems like he spent all his money on tigers and upgrading his northern range cavalry on Yujin, which is also a very interesting choice of general. Because as a sentinel, you don't actually provide much for your cavalry, although you will provide fire arrows and a bit of armor piercing damage, which isn't as noticeable on these more base damage focused archer units. If they had been horseback crossbowmen, which Yujin can't recruit because only strategists can recruit them in multiplayer, they probably would have gotten a bit more of a boost from his skill tree. But overall, it is quite interesting. You're not going to have the high cunning for the high ammo count, even though most horseback cavalry have very high default ammo, so it's not a huge issue, although you could benefit from a huge percentage boost on the big base. In this case, they're the only force that I really see, because tigers, let's be real, are not real units. The second you release them, you're left with a Nunman warrior holding 2 clubs. They are pretty much naked. They do no damage, they are very fragile, and they end up getting picked off. They are unbreakable, but you really need to hide them from combat, because if the units get killed, even though tigers might be running around still dealing damage, the unit's considered destroyed for the sake of ending the battle and determining victories and defeat. So you really just need to go after the units and not the tigers. You can't really target the tigers anyways, nor can you control them, which is the issue here. Because often the tiger will run after routing units all the way to the edge of the map and then try to run back to find the next target. They are pretty much inconsistent, and after the nerf to their charge bonus, I really don't think their damage makes them worth it in both campaign and multiplayer. They went from 500 plus charge to barely 200, and looking at the composition, I'm actually really worried by the lack of units on the right side. We're in extreme unit size, and there's only 60 units of each type, and there's only 12 of them on the right with 2 generals. And on the left, even though we are running a lot of cavalry, you see the manpower advantage is at least 60-70% more units. But anyways, we won't know the result until we see how the battle plays out. So let's hop into game, take a look at what levels the generals are, and see how this battle plays out. So let's go. Alrighty, so as we hop into battle, we have some very interesting deployments right off the bat. We can see that Hindustani man has actually split his force into 3 sides with a very aggressive guerrilla deployment here on Yanbaihu. Of course, he has the advantage of being stalked, so they're technically invisible, but because they're so close to the enemy, I actually think they will get discovered pretty quickly if they move, and that could get pretty dangerous with all the tigers lined up. So it's pretty lucky that BeeDeeDubs, is actually positioned here on the left corner as though he knew Yanbaihu was going to be here, even though this is completely blind deployment. And looking at the items, Yanbaihu has all 3 levels, all 3 abilities, gold weapon. Yu Jin, same thing. Lady Zhuron is tier 3 with her gold mace, very useful, and her other abilities as well, as we have seen an earlier match where Zhuron was sadly only rank 1. Now Yu Jin, he does have a unique ability, Impenetrable Redoubt. Oh, this is interesting. So I wonder if he used this on purpose, because he picked a smaller unit army. He happens to be the defensive side. Actually, I'm not sure if he's on the defending side. It's not always that red is defending and green is attacking. It depends on how the room was made. So he could be on either side, and if he's not on the defending side, this bonus will not apply. But assuming he picked him, he must know he's on the defending side. And he's trying to give all his unit 25% extra melee evasion, 25% extra range block chance, and +5 morale, but they will lose 25% melee attack rate. I wonder if it's actually applied. I don't see it being applied, so he could actually be on the attacking side and just missing out on the entire idea here. That would be very unfortunate. Or perhaps the system deemed his army stronger, which could be the case, because aside from the units on, well, the few units on Gongsun Zan that's actually pretty elite in terms of the White Horse Fellow and the cataphracts on Ma Chao, most of this army is pretty poor. I believe the bandit unit actually ranks pretty low. So we'll see if this activates halfway through the battle, if they start losing units or not. And then let's see, Ma Chao is rank 3, nothing to see here. Gongsun Zan is rank 3, nothing to see here. So this will actually play out pretty interesting now that we know why Yu Jin's picked. Let's see if it works. So let's start. Now we might even zoom in because these tigers might be released very early. So Yanbaihu is trying to do a volley, but volley into tigers doesn't really do much. Oh, they're being released, so they know there's a target, right? They can only be released when the target, or actually they're just walking. Oh! That did damage, but I'm not sure if... Okay, so tiger death. We can ignore the numbers because the number counts tiger death and unit death the same, so it becomes really weird. But now the tigers are released. You see, they're just out of control. They don't... they can't find the target. Yanbaihu became invisible again, so they're not chasing over there because that's the only unit they see. And that's the big problem with tigers. You can't know where they're going. Oh, did she hit that? She hit the flying dagger on Yanbaihu. That was impressive. And the flaming mace set the tree on fire? Yanbaihu's gonna lose this if he doesn't run away. These units might be invisible, but there's not a lot of targets they can go after. Now the tiger migration's happening. We're on tiger watch here. And they're gonna go dive right into the cavalry. I'm not sure if they're gonna do a lot of damage. Gongsun Zan's trying to answer here. I don't know what we can do. You can't target the tigers. You can run through them, I guess, with a charge. Use the body to kill some. But there's only so many you can kill. And yeah, you can't actually charge. You can just walk them forward, which doesn't give you the charge bonus. And the tiger's gonna just be leaping on you. Tiger's gonna die. Tigers are very low health, but with this many tigers, I imagine the cavalry's good as dead, especially since these are just raider calves. Well, they're not peasant band, they're raider calves. Both low quality, very similar. I'm actually super curious to see how the tigers turn out. Very rarely do we see this many tigers in action, both in campaign or in multiplayer. But you can see the struggle. These units can't target, that's the thing. They can't say right click, attack the tigers, they're trying to move. The command is still a move command, and they're just getting picked off. Now, tigers will get killed when they get bumped. But overall, it seems like the tigers are doing great, actually. And they can't help. They can't shoot at these tigers either. So, they just ate them alive. But as I said, the tiger's not going to go after the next big unit. They're just going to chase to the edge of the map. And that's making the tigers pretty useless. Now, let's look back over here. Zhurong has found the rest of the army. Yanbaihu ran back to his man to show everyone where they are, which is a bit unfortunate. Yu Jin is losing now, and this is not activated, so he's not on the defending side. This is a huge misplay. He had a great idea. If he just happened to be on the defending side, it would have been really cool. But he's not, actually, and now he's getting whooped by Yanbaihu. The dagger didn't hit. It's kind of hard to hit that every time. Sometimes you might even risk hitting it on one of your allies. There's not much she can do for him. But one-on-one, I trust Zhurong's got this. Unless they duel. If they duel, the problem becomes of high melee evasion. Ooh. Okay, but she's gonna be fine. She took quite a bit of damage. And the poison's on her. She's gonna lose some melee attack rate. But the thing is, as long as she gets a clean hit, the evasion should drop really hard. Because the fire will drop it by 50%. Yeah, and that's actually what's killing him. He's getting quite a bit of bonus. With minus 50, we're still at 45. But now he's gone. Just keep chasing, lighting everything on fire. Now the tiger's just going to be randomly all over the place. I think we can still find some. Yeah, they're just going to be chasing things down. Well, these are horses. Sometimes they run beyond the... Well, there we go. We found them. Tiger Watch. This entire episode is just going to be Tiger Watch. Okay, we can see that Gong Sun spreading out his cavalry. They're just chasing these units, as you can see, to the edge of the map. And they can still get killed by horses running them down. They killed Yanbaihu, chased down. Wonderful. And now the tiger is looking for a new target. I don't think the tigers will get tired. I believe they're designed to be fatigue immune on the base unit. But what Gong Sun should be doing now is just murder these base units. Yes. The tiger unit is going to be considered wiped, even if the tiger's still on the field. And that can end the game much quicker than having to hunt down every tiger, which you can't really hunt down. You basically just take the damage until you die. Alright, we're trading fire here. These northern mounted archers have decent charge, but not as much as white horse raiders. Not everything's a tiger here. And I wonder if actually he's gonna actually just charge in for melee. They shouldn't run. They should fight. They have higher charge, but way less damage. They're using the white horse fellow to slow them down, so the cataphract could even get close enough to charge in. The northern mounted archers are also super slow. Gong Sun killed every single tiger unit. Unbreakable, but with the help of heavy cataphract, but they're all dead. Tiger's gone. We know Yu Jin can't win this. Tiger's still somewhere on the map. We can find them. Maybe they're faster than I think. They'll be running after a unit, so... Not here. There's a couple here. Yeah. But the thing is, those units are dead. You can just ignore these tiger now. They're going to do very minimum damage, and once these cavalry rout, it's over. Uro, it's not doing much right now. She can't really go up against a cataphract. Ma Chao's on her. The key to general versus general combat in the game is simply right-clicking the enemy general. Oftentimes, whoever does that first will be able to do the initial damage. Right now, she's just running away, and Ma Chao is getting free chase. And every hit with these tier 3 generals is a gold weapon hitting you. So massive damage. You can't afford to get free hit. She needs to hit him back, or else she's just going to lose this. If she hits him back, she could win this. But unfortunately, her command is not on him, and these tigers are just kind of wondering. And the northern mounted archers, well, they're gonna probably outclass the white horse fellows in melee. They're not gonna beat the cataphracts, which is getting free charges on them. Yeah, you can see they have a shield, so there's a 50% evasion, 44% armor, 32 base, armor piercing damage. Pretty decent unit. But it's a little too late here. Ma Chao's gonna do Roar, it's gonna do Flame the Phoenix. Rural can't really turn this around. She is unbreakable. But definitely a little too late. If he had maybe not upgraded the northern mounted archers and just paid for Meng Huo, just so both of them get, additional power of love debuff, it would have been a lot better, I think. Because right now she's definitely fatigued. And even though she's unbreakable, she's missing damage reduction. Can't really turn this around. I mean, as great as the mace is minus 10 morale, minus 50% melee evasion, 112 burn damage over 15 seconds. Just a great weapon. Trying to kite. They're just too fresh, these cataphracts. She tried to... Ma Chao offered her a duel. I don't know, I would have gambled. Despite this health imbalance, I probably would have gambled here. Because you have much more abilities at your disposal. Yeah, take the gamble, let's see. I don't know about the cooldown situation, we can't see it here. But Rending Strike would be great. Into a mace hit, depending on if Ma Chao gets hit. He gets hit, so the melee evasion drops to 0. Every hit is going to be pretty free. And we're talking about huge damage per hit with decent attack rate. But she probably doesn't have the ability. Yeah, it was close though. Look how much health she did. And that's probably going to do it for this battle. Yes, indeed. It's an interesting strategy to try to utilize Yu Jin's bonus, but it didn't work out. I don't know if the setup wasn't defensive side. You can clearly see if you're defense or not. There's one side that's attacking, one side that's defending, and I guess they were just on the wrong side. All right, let's do our post-match analysis, see how the units actually performed. So, taking a look here, the Tigers didn't do that much damage. We're on extreme unit sides, so these numbers are not impressive. These cavalries definitely outperformed them. And it's actually kind of sad, because these guys, aside from the Tigers, the units pretty much just got killed by Gong Sun Zan. You don't want to crowd your units. I think crowding units, whether they're infantry, whether they're cavalry, you don't want to send everyone to a single target, especially if that target is a general with Flame of the Phoenix. That's suicide, right? There is 240 of these warriors here, and 200 of them probably died to Gong Sun Zan here. And that's just way too much. Cataphracts did amazingly well. I think using the White Horse units as bait to kind of swarm the enemy and then have them charge in to get the kills. Very effective. The stock barely did anything. One free volley in the beginning, not much damage, and then got picked off. Mainly because the army composition he ran into didn't have any of those really clumped up spear units to really fire things off at, and the Tiger got released. It got pretty lucky that he was able to get back into stock before the Tiger hunted him down, and instead the Tigers went after these poor boys, the Raider Calves, and they got wiped out before they could do anything at all. They can't even target the Tigers back. But overall, a pretty interesting fight. There was definitely some strategy going on thinking about Yu Jin, but it just didn't work out because he was definitely on the offensive side there. That bonus never kicked in for all the units. So, that's going to do it for our match 5. On to the next match. Bye!